Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome to the Glitched Out Gaming Podcast, your weekly dose of gaming goodness from one Canadian, one American, and a whole bunch of silence.
What the hell?
I have no idea where I was going with that. Anyways, I'm Lord X, your host as always, and joining me, my co-host as always, the one, the only, Israel Pacheco.
Well, that sounded like an Ultimate Warrior promo because it made no sense.
Now, if it was a Ultimate Warrior promo, we'd be fueling up the rocket ship and going into outer space, brother.
Yeah, it's going to be a good week, Lots to talk about.
Indeed, because we missed a week, so we got a lot of games that we've been playing, I assume. Anyway, I do. And there's been a bunch of news stories. Though, luckily, this past week, there really hasn't been that much, so maybe we dodged the bullet by talking about news that's like 2 weeks old at this point.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's start this show off as we start off every show with what we've been playing. And Izzy, what have you been playing since we last chatted?
So I believe the last episode I spoke about these two games, Sonic Generations and Far Cry Primal.
Mm-hmm.
I finished both of them. That's about it, I guess. In terms of those games, I talked at length about both of them last time around. Still might be going for the Far Cry Platinum. I'm not sure. I got like 80% of the trophies right now. I try to go back in and get the collectibles, and I'm like, I'm not having fun with this. I don't think I'm gonna get it. But speaking of another PlayStation game that I finally played, that is Bloodborne.
Yay!
I probably played, I'd say, a couple hours of it. I haven't gone back to it, but what I did play, I get it now. I get the mindset of these Souls games. I haven't played any of the other ones, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, but this one being a PlayStation 4 exclusive, I wanted to give it a shot. It was on sale at the end of last month in one of those like flash sales or whatever, and I get it now. It's just very time consuming. It's essentially an NES game in terms of enemy placement, like memorization, pattern memorization, like how you would play like old platformers like Castlevania and Mega Man, where you have to learn the stage and learn where everything's located in it. That's pretty much what this is, because this game's not messing around. Like once you die, you restart at the beginning. I'm still in Central Yharnam, which is the pretty much first section of the game. I've gotten the furthest that I got was onto the bridge where you fight the boss, but I didn't get to the boss. I encounter like two of the big like wolves or creatures, whatever they call them, and I got killed. And you're gonna be dying a lot, but I get it, and I understand that it's like very slow pace. You have to have a lot of patience for this game. I like the combat system, to be honest. I wish the game wasn't as brutally difficult as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I get it now, so I'm happy that I did play it and I gave it a shot. Maybe one day I'll go back and pick it up again. It's just, like I said, very time consuming, but there's a lot of good things about it. Like the world is gorgeous, the enemies are horrifying. Like, I really like the aesthetic of it. It's basically what Castlevania should have turned into by this point. It really is, because it reminds me of those old NES games. Although I've never played the original Castlevania games. I've played, like, Super Castlevania on the SNES. But watching videos and knowing the history of that franchise and knowing how hard games were in the 8-bit era, 16-bit era, this is a flashback to them. So I can understand why people love it. And they get like a big sense of accomplishment. It's just I could be playing so many other games in the time span that I dedicate to Bloodborne. I just wasn't feeling like I was progressing any further. Although you do feel slight here and there once you learn how to fight around the enemies and how to use your weapons and your upgrades and all that. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. I'm happy I had it. I don't think I'm gonna go back. Maybe I will. Who knows? But at least I could be in that conversation, and I could say, okay, I understand why people enjoy these brutal games. And I get it, and there is some enjoyment there. It's just it takes a long time. It's a big time investment.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't know how the hell you finished the game.
Dedication. That was basically it. Yeah, I really loved Bloodborne 2, and I'm getting really excited now for Dark Souls 3 next month.
Yep.
For me, I've been playing a wide variety of stuff. I picked up Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U. I started that.
Nice.
I played through the first world, and I'm digging it. I really like it. I think the catsuit power-up is really cool and a nice addition to the Mario games. If only Nintendo had been more friendly with YouTubers, that probably would have won the internet, but Nintendo is Nintendo, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, really enjoying that. I played through a bit more of Broforce on the PlayStation 4. Man, that game gets crazy with the characters. I mean, you got RoboCop, John McClane from Die Hard's into it, Blade. Of course, all of them have Bro in their name. Yeah. But yeah, I'm digging it. Broforce is really cool, and I'll probably be going back and playing more of that in the very near future again.
Yeah, I remember you said you had some like technical difficulties like last time you talked about it. Have you experienced anything else in terms of that, like issues with like frame rates or anything?
Not really, though. Every time you do start a level, you don't seem to have total control of your character for like the first 5 seconds. It's really weird. It's like a weird glitch of the game, but other than that, no, I really haven't had any more issues with it.
Okay, fair enough.
Going back over to the Wii U, I picked up Pokken Tournament, and I played that for a little bit. I have not gone back to it, but what I have played of it, I've been enjoying it. I think it's a really pretty good, solid fighting game. It looks good. It plays really well. The two characters I've really dove into and played quite a bit of have been Gengar, which I think he works phenomenally well. Really dig his style. And I've been playing a bit of Pikachu Libre, which is an actual character in this game. Pikachu dressed up as a luchador wrestler, because why the fuck not? And just like the different styles between those, where Pikachu Libre is a whole lot faster and can do a German suplex of a variety, and his special is that the full environment changes into like a wrestling ring with his opponent laid out in the middle. He jumps to the top rope and shouts Pikachu, and then does a diving splash off the top rope. I think it's fucking hilarious. I haven't tried out the online or anything yet, so I can't comment there about the lag and whatnot. But the single player stuff, really digging it so far. I quite enjoy it, and you picked it up as well, didn't you?
Yeah, that's the next game that I got here. I haven't played much of it at all. I just played through the tutorial stages, and that's about it, to be honest. I was gonna hop into the Ferrum League, which is their single player mode, and I've been playing it mainly on my gamepad, and that's because for whatever reason on my TV set, and I've done some further research, this game's running at 720p. It's not 1080p, so when it's on my big TV set, like the 40-inch that I got, the character models look very blurry, and so does the world around it. And like after Googling it, it seems to be just that the game's running like at a lower resolution, so that's why the characters don't look as crisp. But like the cutscenes do, and then like the interface and everything, so it's kind of jarring. So I just been playing it on the gamepad because of course that's a way lower resolution. I think the gamepad's like 480p, so it looks great on there. But like I said, I haven't played much. I just played the tutorial stage. I've been kind of in one of those phases this week where I'm not playing much. The games that I just spoke about are probably like from 2 weeks ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
I want to put more time into it, especially being one of the few games that I bought this month. It was just Pokken and Killer Instinct Season 3, which comes out on Tuesday. Two fighting games. So I'm definitely going to be putting more time in, probably later tonight and this weekend. See if I could get through the single player before Killer Instinct Season 3 hits on Tuesday. But yeah, it looks cool. I thought the tutorial was kind of strangely handled because it's just, I felt an overload of information because this game's a lot deeper than you think.
Yeah.
Like, there is a lot going on. It's a really complex fighting game. Like, if you thought this was just like a Tekken clone, it's not. It doesn't feel like Tekken, and I'm a fan of the series since, like, Tekken 2 on the original PlayStation. It does not feel like Tekken, besides some of, like, the juggle mechanics and stuff. But what they do with the phase shift, that you go from, like, a 2D, perspective to a 3D perspective, I think is really unique. So props to them for doing something pretty unique with this, even though the character roster isn't very large, and they said they're not going to do DLC moving forward. Seems to be its own standalone game, but from what I've seen, it's selling well. You guys know that I work in retail, and we sold out pretty quickly.
Nice.
And people kept coming in and asking for it. It is a Pokemon game, so
True.
Fans of Pokemon are going to want to pick this up and try it out. So yeah, that's it for me in terms of what I've been playing.
All right, well, I've got two more on my list, the first of which I picked up the Nathan Drake collection on PS4. Well, it was on sale for half price there last weekend. And
Nice.
I've been playing through the first Uncharted. I'm up to the Jeep scene right now, so I'm still very early on.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've got to say, it looks really good. It's the first time I've dove back to the very first Uncharted game since, God, way back when I first played it. Like, not at launch, because I don't think...
Probably like 2008.
Yeah, 2008, 2009, probably. Because I played the first one probably a year out from the second one coming out.
Yep.
But yeah, I gotta say, it looks good. It's nice to dive back into that again, and part of me this time around really wants to go for that platinum trophy, so maybe I'll do that, but there's a lot of games on the horizon right now, so I'm really not sure if I will do that, simply because this is taking up 50 gigs of space right now, essentially, so yeah, it's probably not going to stay on my hard drive for very long. And the final game that I've been playing, in which you're probably all watching footage of right now, is Cat Lateral Damage on the PlayStation 4. I know this is silly. This is insanely silly. You play as a cat knocking shit over. But there is something so goddamn satisfying about that. Just going around like, there's shit all over the place. Time to knock that shit over. Like, it's just a soothing game in that regards. The music's great. It's fun. It's upbeat. It looks good. It runs well. The only issue that I've really had is that the trophies have been weirdly popping. Sometimes in order for the trophies to sync, I've had to exit the game and come back into it in order for it to work. But outside of that, fuck, I am loving this game, man. And the trophies, the trophies are so good. The platinum is called Paul-Latinum. It speaks to a pun-isher's art, if you know what I mean.
You playing this on PS4 or Vita? Is it available on both?
It's just on PS4.
Just PS4? Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. Loving the game. It's $8 right now. It'll probably go up to $9.99 tomorrow when it goes off sale. But I gotta say, I recommend Cat Lateral Damage. It's just a fun game and well worth the $8. And you're going to get, if you go for the platinum, 33 trophies. So, and it's going to be a platinum where you're working for it, because you got stuff like, knock over 2,000 items, knock over 20,000 items, collect 200 photos. It sounds hard, but it's really, really not. Just, you're going to be playing this game quite a lot if you are playing it, so. Yeah, it's fun. I recommend it so much. And as you can see by the gameplay, it's just silly fun. And yeah, that pretty much does it for me as well. So with that, we can move into the news. And Izzy, what's up first on the news?
So finally, after several delays, Uncharted 4 is finished. Neil Druckmann tweeted out a photo of a burned Blu-ray disc with the finalized version of Uncharted 4.
Yay!
It's still, like a month and a half away, but it's finally done, so we don't have to worry about any further delays as hopefully maybe their multiplayer is I don't know if that included the multiplayer portion or they're going to patch it day one or whatever the case may be, but the game is done according to Naughty Dog, so I cannot wait. The last trailer they dropped for this was incredible.
I have not watched that latest trailer. I kind of refuse to.
Yeah, you're on Blackout. I was like, I need to watch it. And I've been watching those like behind the scenes videos that they've been putting up on the PlayStation YouTube channel. Those are really good. And it just makes you think like, man, this is the last one for real. Like, there is no more Uncharted from Naughty Dog at least moving forward. But yeah, great news. Looking forward to playing the final game once it hits in May.
Yep. Not long to go now. Also, something else has finally got a release date, and I love the fact that it finally has a release date and that it's not so far away, but it makes 1 week in June very, very, very expensive for me. And that's
two Zero, big RPGs.
Yeah, Zero Time Dilemma, the sequel to Zero Time Escape and 999, is launching June 28th for PlayStation Vita and 3DS, later for PC. And there is a new trailer out for it as well, so yeah, it's releasing on the 28th, which is 4 days after Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which is 3 days after No Man's Sky comes out, and yeah, the last week in June. Oh, God help me if Star Ocean comes out like a week after this, because God damn it. But this is great news. I've already pre-ordered a copy for the 3DS. I probably would have went with Vita, but I own 999 and Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward on the 3DS physically, so just seemed more appropriate to do it that way, and I'll probably pick up the Vita version digitally later on.
Yeah. It's good to see that this is coming out, because I remember we probably talked about this a long time ago, but there were some concerns as to whether this game was actually going to release here.
Yeah.
In North America. So it's nice that it finally got a release date and it's coming.
Yeah, there was even word like for a while that we may not get this game at all, so it's very cool. And they've got a new art style, and the trailer, which is out in English, by the way, it's brutal. Like, holy death, Batman. It is brutal. And I am so very excited for it. Definitely gets me in the mood to go back to the other two games. I still haven't played 999, even though I own it. And I got so far into Zero Escape before I quit, so... Yeah, I'm really excited for this. But yeah, we've got more news to cover and more stuff to go. So, Izzy. Yeah, I know this news really disappoints you.
Well, going from some good news to some disastrous news. RIME, which is a game that I've been excited about since it was revealed in Gamescom 2014, as like the trailer says here. Tequila Works, which is the studio behind it, they've quote unquote chosen to reacquire the rights, which pretty much means Sony dropped them. From I know what we were talking about, the NeoGAF thread that came from this, and of course over at PlayStation I Love You they were talking about it. Colin Moriarty was talking about it, that basically all that footage that we saw from the initial trailer was all BS. It was all CG. It was not running in game. It pretty much had no game. It was just like a concept Target trailer. And actually, it was announced in Gamescom 2013, so that's even longer ago. And I've been waiting for this game forever. I thought it was going to release this year. It doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah.
The only positive thing out of this is it won't be stuck on the PlayStation platform as an exclusive. It'll also be on Xbox and PC. But I don't think we'll ever see this game. I think the studio is going to be shuttered pretty soon. Because for Sony to just completely drop something like this, something that looked promising, there has to be a lot going on behind the scenes that went wrong with this game. And it's a shame because it looked interesting. It reminded me a lot of the Wind Waker. And it seems like I'm calling it now. I don't think we'll ever see this game.
Oh, that's very unfortunate for your fantasy draft picks as well.
Yeah, I know. It's the second one. We went Mass Effect got pushed out the year.
Yep.
Right, and then this one just got canned. So
Star Fox Zero is looking so good right now. Anyways, yeah, it's very, very unfortunate about this game. Like yourself, I was really looking forward to it as well, and to hear that all of this stuff was going on, it's just really disappointing. There's like, it hurts in a way. It really does. Anyways, let's dive into our last story here, which is a report over on IGN. That a new report says the PlayStation 4.5 is real, called PlayStation 4K. So, as written by Matt Porter over on IGN, we still don't have any official word, but another independent source has stated that Sony is indeed working on a PlayStation 4.5. We first caught wind of a possible PlayStation upgrade last week. According to Digital Foundry, Sony's research and development labs have already prototyped devices, and its sources are calling it the PlayStation 4K. However, despite the name, the Digital Foundry speculates that while more GPU power is being offered to developers, realistic it is nowhere near enough to provide native 4K gaming at the same quality level as current 1080p titles. It goes on to suggest three theoretical options for the console: a tweaked console with increased processing power, a console that offers select 4K features, which could split the Sony market, or a slim PlayStation 4 with small performance upgrades. And they say for more on that, check out Digital Foundry's story, and they still haven't heard back from PlayStation 4. Most likely they'll get the usual, we don't comment on rumors and speculation. So, yeah, PlayStation 4.5, which is kind of funny we're doing this story now after 2 weeks ago when we talked about Microsoft and their whole idea of an upgradable Xbox. Looks like PlayStation could be doing a similar thing.
I don't think this is happening. I think, I know you got the story from IGN. I believe it was originally broken by Kotaku.
Yeah.
And this is just like a further confirmation about it. I think this has been wildly misreported, in my opinion. I don't see why this thing would be real. I think it's probably like the PS4 Slim, or a PS4 that has a Blu-ray drive that supports 4K movies. That makes a lot more sense because they barely got any games that run at 1080p 60 frames a second on the PS4 right now, and to run a 4K game you need a PC that's $2,000 or more. And it would make no sense for Sony to re-release a PlayStation 4 that's even more expensive than their current model, and just jack up the price because they have, like a beefier specs with like more, GPU and CPU power. It just doesn't make sense because if they release something like this and it's $400, right? It's not going to have the power to run games at 4K. And we've heard countless times from different developers. I remember we probably had a story about this a while ago, but they were saying like to get games to run at 4K on the consoles, it's going to be years before we see that because it just takes so many resources and development times and all that. Even then, it doesn't make any sense because all these 4K TVs, they have upscalers, like built in the TV set. So if you get a game that puts out a 1080p signal, sure, it's not going to look as good as a 4K native signal that you could get on a PC game, but it's still going to look really good. It just, all of this doesn't make sense, and there's a lot of people who believe this is real, and I don't. Like, this would completely fragment their audience. And sure, you could get scalable games theoretically if this was a real thing, but it would have to be a lot more expensive than any of the current models of the PlayStation to be viable for 4K. And it doesn't make sense. You know, we're in the third year of, you know, the PlayStation 4's life cycle, and this is typically maybe like the halfway point or a third of the console generation. Like, this far in, you're just going to switch gears. So all these games that are going to be in development moving forward, say like this comes out next year or whenever it may be, whatever games come in the future, the next Infamous or the next Killzone or the next whatever the case may be has to be running in 4K on PlayStation. That makes no sense for me. It really doesn't. I think this has been like completely blown out of proportion, and it's something different. I can see them prototyping stuff like this. That makes sense because their R&D departments do that all the time. Maybe this is a prototype of what will eventually be a PlayStation 5. But it just doesn't make sense. Maybe it's what I said. It's a PlayStation 4 that runs all your current games, and it offers you Blu-ray 4K compatibility, like for movies. But anything beyond that doesn't make sense.
I definitely agree with you. I think what you're saying there, it's probably just a Blu-ray upgrade for movies. Or if anything, it's going to be kind of similar to like the new 3DS, where maybe it has a bit more processing power into it, which will help with, say, like frame rate issues on games, or you know, loading for the store apps, that kind of stuff. Like, it won't be anything extremely major.
Some like noticeable but not incredible performance enhancement, so which makes sense, which always happens when they bring a slimmer console. It always runs a little quicker. It isn't anything drastic, and it still runs all your old games and all the games moving forward, so I don't know, it just seems strange.
It's just, if anything, it's just going to be a small upgrade, and probably it's the PlayStation 4 Slim. And it'll probably run Super Nintendo games, whereas the PlayStation 4 can't. That was a very bad joke on my part.
New 3DS, people. New 3DS.
I believe Earthbound comes out today. Well, Friday, as of this recording. Should be out now. That's probably all we're going to get with that.
Yeah, it's just weird stuff going on in the industry right now.
Oh, yeah.
Some really weird stuff. We had the whole thing about the NX controller, and then that was confirmed to be fake.
Yep.
They even put out a video of how they faked the Photoshop and how they faked the prototype unit, supposedly. There's so much weird stuff going on.
Yep. Speaking of
I
weird,
really don't know, man.
Speaking of weird stuff going on, it's time to move into our topic of the week. Top. Alright, so topic of the week. This is something we were going to do last week, but of course we didn't have a show last week because we were just too tired after binge watching Daredevil Season 2.
Yeah.
Go watch Static Screen. We did an episode on it.
That's a true story, yep.
But anyways, this week we're finally going to talk about it, and that's the PlayStation VR finally got a price and a release window. So, the details, basically running the run down the list here before we dive into it. The cost for the base unit is going to be $399 USD, $599 for the bundle, which includes the camera and 2 motion controllers and a physical copy of PlayStation Worlds. It's going to be $549 Canadian for the base headset, $699. Sorry, my bad. I'm fully out of whack here. $6.99 Canadian for the bundle, and it's going to be 350 British pounds for the base unit. I'm not sure what the bundle's costing for them. Probably something similar to the US one, which would be around, say,
450 British pounds.
Around that, yeah, 450 or 550 British pounds. And it's going to be releasing this October. Now, we got an interesting split here on the podcast because I look at the price, I'm like, not at launch. No fucking way. Like, it is way too expensive for me.
Blame Canada.
Yep. Yeah, blame that fucking Canadian dollar and the old price of oil going. That's a whole other fucking topic right there. So yeah, it's way too expensive for me. I did the pricing. It's going to be over $600 if I wanted to buy the base unit. Over $800 if I want to buy the bundle. So for me personally, it's something that I'm going to be definitely waiting on. But on the other side of this podcast, Izzy, tell the folks what you did.
Yeah, I pre-ordered one. I got the bundle that brings the two Move controllers, the camera, and the game, the PlayStation VR Worlds for with the base unit, of course, $4.99. I went that route because I was initially just gonna buy the base unit. That's $3.99 since I have a PlayStation camera, since I have one Move controller. But you need two Move controllers, so I figured, hey, a Move controller is gonna be $30. That's around the price they retail for. The game's going to be $60, right? Mm-hmm. You would think if they sell the VR World separately, which they probably will. This is like supposed to be like their Wii Sports. So that's $90, so that brings me up to like almost $500. So I said, what the hell? Let me just get the bundle. The extra bits and pieces that I have, like the extra camera, I'll give it to my sister, give it to my brother, sell it off, whatever the case may be, and I'll make money back for it. So, yeah, I pre-ordered one through Best Buy. I'm hoping, because Best Buy is notorious for pre-order cancellation, so I'm really hoping it goes through. Like you said, it comes out sometime in October. It's a lot of money to drop. I think with taxes, it was like $430 something dollars. Excuse me, $530, not $400. $530 some dollars with tax. But I'm still conflicted, and we've been talking about this since I pre-ordered the device. I'm still back and forth. Like, on one hand, I'm like, I want to support this technology. I want to be on the ground floor of this as one of the early adopters to really support this medium, because I haven't experienced it myself, but from what I heard, it's pretty revolutionary. On the other hand, we have the iToy, the Move, the PlayStation Vita, the PlayStation TV, 3D TVs, 3D gaming, all stuff that Sony has just completely dropped and not continued. So on one end, it's like, should I really be an early adopter, or are they going to drop this entirely within 18 months?
Well, the one thing that I have heard about VR, and one argument where I look onto it now and I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's going to be a revolutionary technology, with people like comparing it to the analog stick, where it completely changed the game up. Because I think it was the guys over on Easy Allies talking about it, or it was over on IGN, one of the podcasts anyway. No, it was Kind of Funny. Their Gamescast about it with the guy from IGN on there, where he was talking about playing a game where he was in VR. It was Hawken, the mech suit combat game.
The PC game,
Yeah, where he was playing in VR, where he was looking towards one guy. He was moving in one direction. He was firing in another direction at somebody, and he was looking over his shoulder, like physically looking over his shoulder to look in another direction. Like, it adds a new element into playing a game. So I think with that reason that it's going to be a technology that's a little more supported than what we saw beforehand.
And to be honest, like, the Move, the iToy, the PlayStation camera, the Vita, all that has been incorporated into the PlayStation VR.
Yeah, they took the OLED screens out of the Vitas and stuck them into this.
Pretty much. They took the accelerometers and all that stuff that was in the Vita. And remember the original PlayStation gyroscopic stuff that they did with the original PlayStation 3 remote? Yeah. That's all in there. Mm-hmm. So all this failed technology has been put to good use in a way. So, but at the same time, like,
better, faster,
it is going to be a paradigm shift. So I don't know. Another thing is, like, at launch, I don't know if there's going to be that much there in terms of content that's going to keep me, like, satisfied for the launch, which is always the case with any launch of any hardware device.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you get, like, a killer app or like several huge titles, but there's some stuff there. Like, I'm very excited for Riggs. That's one of the games that looks like a full game. That's not, quote unquote, one of these experiences.
Yeah.
I know you wrote here on a docket the Star Wars Battlefront experience, which is going to be exclusive to PlayStation VR. That's going to be interesting. I don't know if that's going to be like an add-on DLC to the current Star Wars Battlefront game, if it's going to be its own thing, own standalone. That's another thing. We don't really know price ranges for this stuff at this point. They haven't put any of the games up for pre-order as of yet that I've seen. I'm guessing Riggs is going to be like $60.
Yeah.
VR Worlds is probably going to be $60, but if you get one of those games within the VR Worlds, is that going to be $15, $20, $30? So there's a lot of questions there, but at the same time, the one thing that's got me like, I want this day one, is the thing that not too many people are talking about, and that is the cinematic mode, which, for those of you who don't know, you put on the headset and you could watch Netflix, you could watch movies, you could play games on a virtual screen that's like, how many meters did they say? They said something ridiculous. It looks pretty much like a movie screen. So you're playing these games on a huge movie screen. So this could say you can't afford a TV, but it'd be kind of weird that you can't afford a TV, but you could afford a PlayStation VR. But hypothetically, if you were like a college kid in a dorm room, you don't have much space, you could put on this virtual reality headset and play Uncharted 4 as much as you want and just be immersed in that experience, in this like theater-like experience. So
yeah,
I'm really interested to see. I've seen some interviews with Shuhei, him talking about the device, and other people in Sony, and talking about how they're gonna, try to do tours around the U.S., maybe put it on kiosks and bus and go around the nation, or certain events at different retailers like Best Buy, GameStop, all that stuff. I have, like I said, neither of us have tried one of these devices. So I don't know. Maybe I get it home and I get motion sickness, because I'm like very sensitive to stuff like this. Like, I was talking to you about the headset situation.
Yeah.
Like, I don't wear headsets that cuff my ears because my ears get really hot and it annoys me. So like, the PS4 controller jack is perfect. Same thing with the Xbox One. I just plug in earbuds and I'm good to go. I don't like those beefy headsets, which gladly this lets you use any headsets that you want, which is a cool feature. They don't come bundled into the device. But I wear glasses too, but I've heard people say it's comfortable with glasses. You could adjust it. I'll probably get contacts just to be on the safe side. But I'm excited for something new. I'm excited for a paradigm shift. Virtual reality. The idea of virtual reality has been around since we were kids. Like, I remember the Tiger Electronics, like, VR garbage that they would sell at Toys R Us. The Virtual Boy stuff back in the days when arcades are still around, like virtual reality things, like, and laser tag type of things with virtual reality.
It was like, kind of a pipe dream when we were kids.
Yeah, it was like,
now it's becoming a reality.
Exactly. So I want to be there because I want to support this, and I, on one hand, like, all those failed technologies, but they're all being finally used and implemented with the PlayStation VR. And another thing is, Sony's got the infrastructure to really support this in terms of studios, in terms of partnerships, in terms of content and media, like Sony Pictures, Columbia Records, all that stuff is like Sony stuff. So they could really support this outside of the gaming medium, which will be very cool. But yeah, I'm still on the fence. Tomorrow I could wake up and be like, screw it, I don't want to support this. I'm canceling my pre-order. But I might just keep it, because another thing is these are going to be hard to find when they come out. They're going to be very scarce. They're going to be on eBay for a bunch of money. The buzz that's going around this is very positive in terms of the price point. So I could see this being the hot ticket item this holiday season going into Christmas. So it's going to be a case of like when the PS4 was released, they were hard to come by. You had to pretty much like stock stores to get your copy. Same thing back in the day with, I remember the PS2. Oh, that was nuts back. You couldn't find those anywhere.
PS2, the Wii, stuff.
The
like
Wii
that.
was that was nuts. But
for myself, like I'm not like I said, I'm not buying one, but I am excited for it. I am looking forward to it. The price is a little too much out there for me. I'd rather invest into a variety of games instead of like the headset itself. And the other thing, like you were talking about, is how well it's going to be supported when it comes out, what games are there. And that's the thing right now really holding me back from like pulling the trigger on getting this, because do I really want to spend $800 on something that may have one game I like for like a year? Like the 3DS had that issue. I bought it day one.
Ooh, that's a true story. I bought that day one. It wasn't until summer when they had Ocarina of Time and Star Fox, and those were remakes.
Yeah,
it wasn't until the fall when they got Mario 3D Land.
So it's stuff like that holding me back. Like I'm not going to pull the trigger right away. Like the cinematic mode sounds fucking awesome, but I'm not a person who likes like gaming with a headset on. I don't do that very often because I don't really like if I take the headphones off, my ears, like you're saying, burning and whatnot.
Exactly.
I start getting headaches. So it's not something I want to spend $800 on if I'm only going to use it, say, once a week for like an hour.
I gotcha.
So
it makes perfect sense, especially in like the prices up in Canada are freaking ridiculous right now for gaming. And that doesn't help either. Even if you had the prices that we have here in the States, it's still a lot of money. Everybody's like, oh, so much cheaper than Oculus and Vive. It's still the price of a new console. So like you said, you never know.
Like right now, I could pay $600, $800 and get a PlayStation VR, or if I wanted, I could go get an Xbox One for $449 plus tax.
Yeah,
and
that's true. Or you get the NX, because that's rumored to be coming out at the end of the year. Plus, we got stuff.
Give it to you.
We got Horizon Zero Dawn. We got The Last Guardian. Like they got some big releases in the fall too.
Yeah, exactly. So, and there's going to be a new WWE game coming out in the fall for sure. JRPGs, Final Fantasy 15, Persona 5. So there's a lot I'd rather focus on than VR. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. And I will definitely pick one up in the future. I will probably wait for a price drop in that and wait until there are a bunch of games coming out. So, yeah, it's as much as I like adapting new technology on day one, this is something I can definitely hold off on.
Yeah, and I got burned with the Xbox One with that. With getting it early on, because within 6 months that I purchased mine is when they decided to remove Kinect and drop the price drastically and bundle in Titanfall and all that stuff. So you could always wait. I'm sure there'll be even more bundles moving forward. We'll see how this turns out this holiday season. I'm pulling for them. I hope it's successful. I really do. Yeah, it's just a lot of money. But if any time, now it's the right time. We were several years into the console span life cycle. We'll see. It's very interesting to see what happens this fall with this, and it'd be interesting to see how Microsoft and Nintendo react. Nintendo's still gonna do whatever the hell they want to do. Virtual Boy 2, I tell you, it's coming. Xbox now is just gonna be like, we're out. We're just making PC. We're a PC platform now. But it's interesting. I want to see, like I said, there's stuff coming there's gonna be a lot of experiences.
E3 is definitely gonna be fun this year.
I want real games I could dig into, and Riggs seems to be the only one. I keep bringing up Riggs because it seems to be the only one that's like a real game, a competitive shooter. Everything else is like an experience that you could probably finish in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, just you wait for that Nightmare on Elm Street game.
Oh, Jesus. We were talking about Far Cry. I'd pay so much money for Far Cry in VR. Oh my god. Just give me just dinosaurs. Just give me.
Well, you're
everything.
getting a few of those. Ark Survival is going to have VR support.
What's the other one from Crytek?
Robinson's Journey.
Yeah.
Jurassic Experience, which is listed as a PlayStation VR title.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. And to be honest, since I purchased this, the rest of the year, my purchases are going to be very limited moving forward. Like, already I have stuff that I purchased on PlayStation Store months ago, like Uncharted, Ratchet, let's see what else. That's about it. What's coming up soon? Quantum Break. I purchased that a while ago on Xbox One, so that's pretty much in the can. But everything else, moving forward, like Star Fox, day one. Ninja Turtles, day one. But everything after that, like from May, like Doom, Mirror's Edge, all that stuff that comes out June, like No Man's Sky, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, all this stuff is gonna put a serious hamper on my purchases, because that doesn't even include the potential for the NX coming out at the end of the year, which is probably gonna be around the same price range as this device. It's a very interesting year, to be honest.
Yep. All right, well, I guess that's pretty much going to wrap it up for our topic of the week. We're excited about VR. I'm sure we're going to be talking about it a lot more in the very near future as more things get announced and talked about. As far as questions and comments go, we have none this week. There was none left on the last video. So, yeah, we got nothing there to answer or to talk about. So before I hand it over to Izzy to close, I just want to put in another little promotion here for Static Screen. We brought that back. The new episode is up there right now. Static Screen Podcast, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and Daredevil Season 2. After we finish recording this, we're going to do one on Batman v Superman. So either that's probably out by now or will be coming out. It's probably going to release very soon, yeah. So,
I'm telling you guys, you're going to want to listen to that one, because I'm going to go off.
Yeah.
I was very mellow during this podcast. It's because I'm holding back for the discussion on Batman v Superman. And also, it's going to be spoiler-filled, as was the 10 Cloverfield and Daredevil Season 2. That's what we decided. I know we talked about it a little bit on the show. Moving forward, screw it. We're going to do spoilers. We're sorry if you haven't.
We blew up the spoiler bunker. It no longer exists.
Yeah, but we give you the heads up at the beginning. So.
Yeah. So, with that, Izzy, why don't you take us away?
So, thanks, guys, for listening to the show. Let us know in the comment section down below any of your thoughts on any of the new stories we covered. Uncharted 4 finally coming. RIME no longer being a thing, at least in terms of a PlayStation exclusive. Is the PlayStation 4.5 real? Are you picking up a PlayStation VR? Are you going to wait? Are you picking up an Oculus? Are you picking up a Vive? Do you believe in VR? For Lord X, I am Izzy, aka Israel Pacheco 89, and we are glitching out.
My copy of Dead or Alive 5, Dead or Alive Extreme 3 is on the way.